Hello and welcome to BOOKMAS Day 7. Today we're gonna talk about on how to annotate your books. We have multiple variations here. Some are more heavily annotated than others. I'm gonna walk through all of them with you now. We're gonna talk about everything that you might need to know in order to get into the annotation game. Maybe you started annotating already. I started annotating last year and it started actually with beach read. As you can see, there are like just a few tabs in here. It's not too much, not too heavy. We're gonna go right into this video, like how I started out annotating and what helped me. I just sometimes saw people on Pinterest like highlighting certain things and I noticed, oh, I like, for example, Emily Henry's writing style. So whenever I liked a quote or whenever I felt like something was resonating with me or I found like it was very romantic, I highlighted it and I put a tab on it. So let me show you. It would sometimes just be like, here, I remember you. Literally 3 single words, but for some reason they did something to me in the moment. And yeah, I just highlighted them and put a tab mark on it. And that's actually all I did back then. Same with the 7-year slip. I had no system behind this. And I have few tabs in here, but I'm actually embarrassed, not embarrassed, but I feel like it's a bit sad that I made those tabs and I put like colors in it and they didn't have a meaning, you know? You can do it like this. For me, that was really helpful to start getting into it and understanding it better. So this is for me sort of stage 1, because that also just meant starting to get over the fear of writing in your books, you know? That was like the most important thing for me to get over. So once I had that, I was able to start annotating a bit more. A book that heavily helped me learn the annotation exercise basically, and I've never annotated a book this much in my life. Like, I started reading the series this year and it's actually crazy. So my Magnolia Parks copy is the most heavily annotated book I think that I own, next to my Daisy Hates. Like, this is crazy. I mean, these are my prized possessions because I'm just proud of it, you know, because not only does it look aesthetic, but it also has a meaning behind it and it makes it so much easier and faster to go back to certain scenes and to certain places, and I just love that. So what I did here, as you can see, there are like 5 different colors or 4 different colors and they all hold a different meaning. I also have a reading vlog on that one, so if you want to see me annotating in that, I'm gonna link it somewhere here for you. So I wrote on the dedication page the annotation key, and the annotation key is basically you put the color of the tab and then you write next to it what it's supposed to signify and mean. What I usually do is I start reading a book. If it really hooks me or if I feel like I want to analyze something, I'm gonna start highlighting and adding a tab. And if I feel later on, oh, this also resonates with the same topic, I will take the same color again. So with that, my mind is always going back to that color. And then at one point I'm like, okay, so for example, I find something funny, right? Like I see a funny quote and I feel like I want to remember that. I'm just gonna take the color that I chose for it and write next to it funny. And then whenever I find something funny, I'm gonna take the same color again. So it's very straightforward. It's not something that I do beforehand usually. Here I did. But my annotation keys, they can always be elongated times 10 technically. I just find it sometimes hard to beforehand go into a book and feel like, oh, I want to point out these things. Unless you're rereading it, I don't think that's natural or easy to do. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you start reading and you feel like something is intriguing you, you can start putting like the little keys in here. And things that I, for example, highlight are relationships. So the dynamics between certain characters, you can also just write their character names in there. Then dark blue for me is always important quotes that I want to remember. So through all my books that I have, I know that the darkest color, so the dark blue usually, is the color that will show me the quotes I found most interesting or where I loved the writing style in that moment. And that for me makes it also just easier to find beautiful writing throughout all my books on my bookshelf. Then we have sad and also toxic, because Magnolia Parks is quite a toxic book. Then we have Daisy Hates, which is also heavily annotated. I mean, this is crazy. I didn't even have enough tabs anymore, like I had to go up here. There I divided it for Daisy and Christian, so the different 2 characters. Again, relationship and love, so these are like in one. Then we have quotes again, Julian, which is another character in the book, and again toxic. So these are just examples. Like, you can obviously write whatever you want. What I sometimes do is I look it up on TikTok or I just Google what are certain annotation keys and tabs for one of the books I'm reading. So I think probably for Akatar or something, they have something out there as well. And going now to the 3rd stage is where you not only write into your book, you're also gonna start painting a little. So you're gonna have an annotation key. What I did, for example, with Once Upon a Broken Heart, I just did like small dots here, for example, you know, like it's not much. Or I underlined here, or sometimes I also draw hearts or something. That's just personally for me. Like I'm not doing this for anyone but myself. I just like the look of it, you know. I like to draw a little. Like I'm not even gonna call this actually drawing. I think maybe I have one here and Daisy hates. So here, for example, this is a very good example page of what I'm sometimes doing. This is not really, yeah, this is just highlighting, different points of highlighting something. This is a very heavily annotated page. These don't all look like that. But if it's a very interesting scene, for me, I also noticed at one point if I was having a dialogue, sometimes it was making more sense to even color coordinate. That was crazy. I've not done this ever since again. That I also color coordinated according to the tabs, the highlighters. So I also had that in my annotation key. If Daisy would say something, it would be in blue. If then Christian would say something, or it would be about Christian, I would put it in gray. Or if I find something that was really important for their relationship, for their dynamic, it would be highlighted in pink. And then when I also found something very interesting, I would just circle it, or if it's a certain word, I would circle it, I would underline it. I would sometimes write in it like, say, oh, you know, I'm not like writing a lot, but I'm just making a few expressions sort of that I'm writing down. And sometimes I would love an entire paragraph, and I would feel like an entire paragraph is important. So then I put it in one of these brackets, because that just makes more sense to me than underlining the entire thing. Here I tried that. I don't like that. I think it's too much effort. So sometimes I just put it in brackets. Also here you can see that I did that. Yeah, this is just a very good example book for annotating actually. So this is like the in-between step. So yeah, the fourth one would then be that I start drawing a little in my books. So not necessarily like heavily drawing, but as I said here, like making it like in little circles or dotting it a little, or just making it for the aesthetic rather than just the point of like annotating. So these were just some examples. This is obviously very personal and just what works for you. So I'm not going to try to talk you too much into you need to do this and this and that. It's just like a very organic thing for me that started to happen after a while. So I think, yeah, just cut yourself some slack. And also this doesn't need to look as aesthetic as you always see it on Pinterest. And also I don't think you need to have as many tabs as I do in here. Like this took me multiple months to read. So I don't think this is necessary, you know, but I feel like this is very fun if you want to do a character analysis or if you're into different writing styles. Yeah, I love annotating for that, but as I'm saying, like you can also just highlight something or put a tab on it. If you don't want to write into your books, just adding some annotation tabs is also very handy. For example, Once Upon a Broken Heart, I read before on my Kindle, and on the Kindle and also I think on your ebooks on your iPad or something, you can also just tap it and then highlight it, and then afterwards you can look back on it, so which page it was on. That's basically what I did when I then took the physical copy. I was then highlighting everything afterwards, which was really meditative to do and very nice because I could like go through the book again and then see all the passages again and do it like anew and fresh and take my time with it. That's actually what I really enjoyed. And then I could also just take some more time figuring out an annotation key, you know, because I was like not reading it anymore. I already highlighted everything I found important. So that's another thing you could do if you're interested in that. And now we're gonna move over to the annotation supplies you might need, because yeah, I mean, you need something, right? Like you need highlighters, you need stuff. So these tabs I used here. I bought them at Target one time and they were like a set of 4 colors, I think. I'm gonna be honest, they're actually quite ugly. Also, I don't think I still have them. Let me check. I almost ran out of them, so I used them till they were almost finished. The pink is already empty and the other ones are almost empty too, besides the green. I just don't like the green, so this one was the first annotation key I used. I also love using them as bookmarks. Okay, never mind. So first up, what you will need is a little bag where you can store it in. This one is from Strand. I also have this. Very handy, but on this one you cannot fit your annotation tabs, so I'm gonna go through this one first. Okay, these are all my annotation tabs, and some of them are still packed. Usually it's good if you keep them in the foil, because after a while they just start moving around. So this is what they would look like then. This is like one pack I bought off of Amazon. Yeah, you just have endless of them basically, and to be honest, I run out of them fairly quickly. It's good that I have a few more on hand, and it's also nice to color coordinate them. I think this is like kind of my hobby now. My tabs are laying around everywhere, I swear. It's crazy. Then of course I have some bookmarks in here, but that's also not important to you. And then what's also very interesting are these sticky notes. So these are very handy if you do not want to write into your book, because they are actually transparent, so they are see-through. And when you put them on your book, you can write on them and you can write in the margins of your book, and you can just take it off when you don't want that anymore. I think you can also write on your tabs, but yeah, you need a special pen for these sometimes, or you just need to let it dry very, very long. I tried it sometimes, but I'm just not that patient, you know, and I'm a bit afraid of it smudging everywhere. And so I'm just gonna write into my book because I don't really mind. And now moving on to the pens I have, because I just love talking about everything that's stationery. I bought this pen, which is a Pilot pen, I think. So this one is a bit of a light color, so this is a bit more difficult, but I still love this for just like circling stuff and everything. One of the best purchases I've made this year are these glitter jelly pens. I love these so much. Like, as you can see, I'm getting quite a lot of use out of them. Let me see if I use them somewhere here so that I can show you, because oh my gosh, I loved that I made this purchase. I feel like I used them so much and still I cannot find them. So for example, here in the right move, you can see it's like a little bit metallic. I don't know if you can see it properly, but I love that, you know, like a little bit of glitter in my life. Yes, please. Give me all the metallics and the glitters. And I also usually then write my annotation key with the glitter pen. I love that. So this made me very happy. I also have a copper colored one. So this is more like to make it look cute. But obviously you also need highlighters. About a year ago I got a set off of Amazon. I love these because there's also, like, for example, this light gray in there. They're from Mr. Pen. As I said, I'm gonna link them down below. Mr. Pen, so good, because these don't bleed through your pages, or like at least not as quickly, depends on how thick the paper is. Like, I've not experienced one highlighter that doesn't bleed at all. Like, of course you're gonna see something probably through the page, but like if you're careful, these are really good. And also they're just so light that they don't overpower the look of the page and everything, and they're just so subtle. I love them so much. And another very big recommendation I have for you is this Micron. It's a 0.1 fine liner. So this is very good for writing in the margins. So make sure you get a 0.1. Oh no, it's not 0.1, it's 0.25 millimeters. I can highly recommend this. Really highly. This is so amazing because look at how tiny this is. You can just scribble in between the tiny pages. I love it. And then I also have some mild liners. For me they look like this, so it's more like a brush tip. They're also pretty good, but I feel like I would prefer their markers probably. I'm just more like a marker type of girly, but these are also really good. I like the gray one especially. I just love like light gray colors and beige and everything. I'm obsessed with that. So these are all my supplies. I would just say to you, start out with what you have. If you already have a few fine liners, if you have a roller pen or something, just start with that. Get used to writing in your book. As I said, if that's not for you, you can always refer back to these things. And also, instead of writing at all into it, you can also just use the sticky notes, like just the annotation tabs, and that's it. And you can still color coordinate it if you want, and then you just tab it on the right passage. So it's really not that big of a deal. And it's really not that difficult. So I think, yeah, just start getting into it. Don't overthink it too much. I'm sure you're gonna be doing great. And also I think you're gonna be proud of yourself once you start doing it. Like, you're gonna see progress over time. I also don't think that it's realistic what we see on Pinterest all the time. Just wanting to clarify that. This was today's video, very fast and quick, but I hope it was very helpful to you. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know in the comments down below, then I will try my best to answer them. And with that, have a beautiful and blissful day. I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Bye!